All right, guys, here we go. By the way, I am going to run a little bit of air on this. We're not going to be running flood coolant. Bringing it down nice and slow to start. It looks like it's going to cut on that first pass. Just skimming the top of it. It looks like it is leaving a beautiful finish on that cast iron. Beautiful finish. Better than what I was expecting it to give us. I think I got something wrong in the program. Something's not right there. I think that's why it didn't cut anything on that first operation. It didn't cut anything. I think I'm gonna stop this so that I can regroup. I need to look at the software program and see if there's something that needs to be modified. So I'm gonna stop this for now, okay? All right, doing some checks on everything. I think I figured out what happened there, and that is the stock to leave. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks, and I don't know, I can't remember why I've got it the way I do, but so on stock to leave, I've gone through every one of the operations in order and checked it. So our very first operation, which is going to be that parallel cut that was supposed to come down and knock some of that rough casting out. If you go to the passes tab, and down here where I checked stock to leave, I left the axial stock to leave at 164 thousandths, which is actually the height of what that casting is now. That's why when we made that very first operation here, it just kind of nicked the top of the high spots off. So I left it, I set that exactly where that casting is, so that's why it really didn't cut anything. All right, so just doing some investigation work. Then we go to the 2D contour. We'll edit that, go to passes, And on stock to leave, same thing, 164. So when it went across there, it didn't cut anything there as well. All right, and then when you go down to the next one, parallel, we go to edit, we're gonna go to passes, stock to leave, 50 thousandths, all right? So that's what I wanted to leave for our final cut, was to have 50 thousandths on there, all right? So that one is correct. And then after that, then you're gonna do the 2D contour across here to clean that edge up. And that one is off also. That one was set at 82 thousandths, which is actually half of the depth of what this casted area is that we started with. So I don't know how I got all that messed up there, but this was a great learning experience here, coming in here, doing a little bit of investigative work to try to find out, okay, what is going on and how come it's not cutting to the right depths. Luckily, this one was a pretty simple one to figure out, and then all we got to do is come in here and change the stock to leave like it should be. All right, so that one, that 2D contour that we're on right now, this stock to leave should be 50 thousandths. So I'm going to go ahead and modify that. So instead of 82, we're going to make it 50. And then on these guys, on the parallel, I'm going to go ahead and edit this one again. Okay, passes, and on stock to leave, it's at 164. We're going to go 082. Okay, same thing on the 2D contour, edit, passes, stock to leave is at 164. We're going to go 082 thousandths. All right, and then we'll just check this again, edit our next one. That should be 50. It is at 50 thousandths, so we don't have to change that. 2D contour, edit, passes, and stock to leave 50 thousandths. All right, so those should be good. And then the next one should be our finishing pass. When we go to edit it, there should be no stock to leave, so I don't even have it checked. So that's going to cut it right down to the finished depth there. Okay, so that's all it was. It's kind of a silly mistake, but I'm glad we caught it and we didn't actually mess up our finish there. So I'm going to repost this and reload it in the machine, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can finish this guy out this time. We've got the program edited, loaded back in the machine, ready to go. The other thing that I did off camera there, went ahead and took my depth mic here, and I took a depth measurement from here to here. On our print, this is supposed to be 475 thousandths. And with our final pass, getting ready to do the final pass, this right here was supposed to be 50 thousandths stock to leave. So it should have been measuring at 0.525 inches. And I was in fact 3 thousandths lower than that. So I adjusted the program again, well, whenever I was making the edits, so that on our final pass, I actually left stock to leave 3 thousandths. So that should put us at a 475 thousandths depth here, depending on where you mic it, because remember we had about 1 thousandths off right there. So if we measure it here and here, it should measure about 475 after we make that final pass. I also adjusted the engraving tool up by 3 thousandths as well. So let's go ahead and start it over again and see if it finishes it out like it's supposed to. I'm going to start the program from the very beginning just to let it run through. I'm not going to bore you through all the air cuts, and I'll get you back here whenever we're actually getting ready to start cutting some metal. But I am going to make sure that we're where we need to be right here. Shouldn't be cutting anything right here. Nope. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. All right, so this is going to be our engraving. I'm going to walk it down nice and slow to make sure that we don't jam up that tool. I think we're going to have success on the first pass right here. Forgot I was going to have some air on here. All right, something's wrong right there. I must not have the right tool selected in there because it should not be doing that. All right. I've made another mistake, so I'm going to halt the program and stop it. That definitely is not right. Good thing it's right on that edge where it's going to be chamfered. So I'm going to exit out of this. Let's go hand wheel Z. That's definitely not right. All right, I'll get that figured out. What do you think of that engraving? I am very pleased by that. I think it looks fantastic. A thousandths deep on the center grill. I think it's beautiful. Nice and prominent. It's easy to see. That is great. All right, so I think we're nearly done, except for I got to figure out the chamfering tool. That was the last operation. I'm going to go play around with that and see what I did wrong there, and we'll come back once we figure that out. I had to use one of my lifelines to figure out why it was trying to engrave that outside edge there. So I was actually able to talk to Kevin over at Mechanical Advantage. Again, he is the one that's been helping me with these programs and these projects. I take these projects and then we get on the computer and do our support sessions, and he helps me go through the programming there. But what he explained to me that I missed on the sketch part of doing the engrave is it actually had the outer lines selected on the sketch as well. So I had to go into the sketch and edit it and actually delete the perimeter lines off of this sketch there, so that it was only doing the lettering portion of the sketch. So that's all it was. So I actually posted it out as a separate program for the chamfer, and a separate program for the engraving operation there as well. So I have that on the computer here. So should have that fixed. Now all we got to do is go around with the engraved, or I'm sorry, not the engraved tool, the chamfering tool to do our chamfer. just slowed it down there at the end so I don't risk crashing it. There we go. Beautiful. I think it looks great. So we do have a little bit of burr that's like rolled up from our engraving tool. And what we may do there is use our face mill again and adjust our Z depth there. We'll bring it up another 1/2 thousandths of where we finished it at and run it across there and see if it'll kind of knock that down. That was one of the suggestions that Kevin had made to me. So we may do that too. But other than that, man, I'm hoping that the finish comes out good on the video, because from here it looks absolutely gorgeous. I think that worked really well. You couldn't actually hear it cut anything, but you can feel the difference on that. That is awesome. Man, I'm just so happy about this. Okay, so this side is technically finished up there. That is done. So we can carry on and get this thing rotated 180 degrees so that we can repeat that on the opposite side. Hopefully we got all of our bugs now worked out and we can have success on machining the back side without any of these other problems where we're having to tweak and modify. I almost forgot to give you guys an update on the measurement here for our step, and I already mic'd it, and I'm 1/1000ths off. So right there where 474, where the print was 475, so 1/1000ths there, and down here on this end we're actually spot on. If I make sure I'm not getting any dust there, we'll use our depth mic and measure that one. We're at 475, spot on right there. So thousandths difference on our depth there, but we already showed that at the beginning that this is off a little bit anyway. So I think it's right where it needs to be. Right there, it's measuring 1/1000 under, and it's spot on right there. So we're good on our depth. And when we flip it and do the other side, I'm going to kind of do some measurements to try to make sure that we hit our target size on our thickness. Okay, let's go ahead and get this workpiece rotated 180 degrees. I've already spent a little time trying to get the top of the work surface here cleaned off really well, wipe the inside of the jaws really well, try to eliminate any of that dust, really fine particle that comes from cast iron. So I think we're ready to go. We'll go ahead and tilt it up. I'll give it one more final wipe there, then we should be able to simply just lay it on down, and we'll push it back and against our work stop there. Trying to be careful over here on this other end where the tools are, that I don't either hit my hand or hit the workpiece there. I was actually on the work stop, so that should be fine. Vise feels good. Okay. Bring it forward just so I can, one more final wipe back there. All right, everything feels good. I don't feel any trash. Gets our work stop. We're ready to tighten this guy up. So here I am missing steps. We're gonna have to loosen this up. I'm gonna have to move this down out of the way some because I got ahead of myself and I forgot. Our Z is gonna be off of the vise bed or the work surface that we already machined in order to get to our proper thickness there. So I've got to use the probe, and I needed to find Y anyway, so I'm just going to slide this down so that we can touch off on the vise bed there. Use that to hold that in place, and we'll just come and touch it right there. All right, now we can slide it down. I'm going to go ahead and touch off this edge again too. I know we shouldn't have to, but we already got the probe in there and we're going to be right here, so might as well do it. Since I did kind of bump that a little bit, we'll get this retorqued and we'll get it probed too. So on our second setup here, I'm going to do things slightly different than we did the first time. This part of the rough casting is only about 30 thousandths above this machined area right there. It's about 35 here and 30 there. It was slightly offset whenever we cut that. I'm not going to worry about coming down and doing that little bit. To me, it's not worth it enough. We've only got 70 thousandths total thickness there to bring this down. So our first pass is going to be our parallel tool path. And it'll be taking around 50 to 55 thou once it comes into this casting right about here. So I'm just going to run that. It's just going to run the parallel tool path and then the 2D adaptive right across there. 2D contour, I'm sorry. And it's going to stop. That's going to be the end of the program. Then I'm going to measure it with our micrometer here to see what our thickness is. And I'm going to adjust the program for the finish pass depending on what my thickness is, on how much material that I need to leave or adjust it down to get to that finished pass. So roughing pass, mic it, adjust the program, finishing path, it'll do the chamfer at that point, and then I'm going to load up the engraving program separately. It was quite a bit of work replicating the logo from this side over here to this side. I definitely had to have Kevin's help over there at Mechanical Advantage. He helped me out with that, but we had to kind of get this over here and try to get it looking as close as we could to the other side. So that was quite a bit of work. So that'll just be run as a separate program once we're ready to do that, because that'll be the last thing we got to do. I've already proven the tool path by cutting air. I think we're ready to roll. I'm just going to do my normal check, make sure that we're in a good spot down here. Okay, I think we're ready to go. We're going to send it. I think that worked out really good. It didn't overload the tool in any way there. That's fine. So we'll go ahead and use our mic and measure it now to see what this thickness is, so that I can compensate that for our finished pass. All right, we got our 3 to 4 inch mic there. I'm going to go ahead and measure this in a couple places and see what our overall thickness is and if we're where we need to be. Man, we are spot on where we should be. Okay, so this is measuring 3.048, which is exactly where it needs to be. We had this first roughing pass with 50 thousandths left on stock, which will be for our finished pass. The thickness that we're shooting for, which is the print size, is 2.998, so 2 thousandths under 3 inches. So if you take this and subtract 50 thousandths, that's gonna land on 2.998 whenever we take our finished pass. That makes me feel really good that all of our sizes is right where we're looking for it. I'm going to go ahead and check this in. I want to see if we're parallel. Kind of an awkward position with the door right here. That one is 4/10 higher on this side right there. I'm going to do that again. It's always good to double and triple check your measurements. In fact, I'm not going to use the thimble this time. I'm going to make sure I got it squared up good. Should slide right on off there. I'm checking it again, and 4/10 higher on this corner than it is right there. I'm not worried about that. That's less than 1/2 thousandths. I think we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and I want to check this back side as well and see what it's measuring. Kind of hard to get it, pull it off there straight. And that one's good too. 2 thousandths on the back side right there. So I'd say we're probably within about 1/2 thousandths of being parallel from end to end. So I'm going to go ahead and get our finishing tool path loaded up, and then we'll get that part finished. Okay, we got the finishing tool path loaded up, ready to go. I'm just checking it. It looks like it's good, so we're going to send it. All right, I think we did good there. Got to hit cycle start. We should be finished up. Going to be doing our engraving, and I am going to kind of walk this down gently just to make sure everything is good to go, because I haven't proven this one on this side yet. I think we're good. Let's send it. The finish looks beautiful, matches the other side well. Looks awesome, guys. Nice and smooth, shiny. And as we said before, the video and the lighting sometimes really kind of blows those finishes out, makes them look maybe more rough than they actually are, but I mean, that is just smooth as silk right there. Let's go ahead and give it a measurement here to see where we landed on our size. Remember, looking for 2.998 was our target. And we are there, 2.998. And I'm looking at the tenths. It looks like that we're maybe 1/10 under that measurement right there. We're going to go ahead and double check it here again. Yep. 2.998 minus another tenth on top of that. I'm going to go ahead and check this side as well. Let's see if we're maintaining our 4/10 on this side. It looks like we are. So that maintained 4/10 difference. So still about a 0.5 thousandths out of parallel on that, which is going to be perfectly suitable for our workpiece of what we have there. Not bad at all for a vise. All right, I'm happy with that. So our last operation, of course, is going to be our engraving. I'm going to go ahead and get that loaded up, and let's get this guy finished. All right, so I'm doing my air check. I set my coordinates an 1/8 inch above the surface, and I just wanted to make sure everything was good to go. It looks like it is. I got to run at 200% rapid, by the way. So just doing my double checks. I'm always nervous about this stuff. I'll adjust this here when it's finished, and we'll show you the finished engraving cycle. All right, we got our test out of the way. Let's go for it. I am going to bring it down slow again, just to make sure. Also, I'm going to turn on air. Should be at 3.997. There we are. So it looks like we are not quite touching. So what I'll have to do, I'm just going to adjust our coordinate of the machine down. It looks like it's trying to. There we go. I can see, okay, the tip of the tool was touching the surface back there, but we have a slight variation in the surface. So I will have to make a slight adjustment on the Z and come in here and do that again. I'm just gonna let it finish out, because I'd like to see what this looks like. I mic'd this back area. You can see our tool path with our face mill. You can see how it just kind of cut it off right at the bottom of the anvil shape. So this side is about 1.5 thousandths lower than the rest of this right there. Really kind of odd. So I'm going to adjust the tool so that we can start this tool path and go ahead and get this part ground. I'm just going to adjust at 1 thousandths, and if it cuts this bottom, I'll be happy with that as we get through. We don't need to cut this area again. As long as we can get this and get the anvil section done, I'll halt the program and stop it at that point, because this looks fine right up there. I'm more than happy to say that we have a successful part and we are finished up in the mill there. That last op with the engraving is still a little bit confusing, but we definitely got about 1,000 low over on that last tool pass, so evidently the tool pressure was reacting a little bit differently there. But on the other side, it worked perfectly. So I gotta really kind of focus on this and try to get a grasp of what is going on to cause that problem. All I did to correct that, to quickly do that, I went into the coordinates of the machine for Z and I adjusted it 1,000ths in Z. So for right here, I'm actually going to go ahead and correct that. We're going to put 0, that's where it should be. This is where I adjust it anytime I do those air cuts to test out the tool path. All right, so that is corrected. I don't have to worry about that now. And other than that, we are done. So I need to go ahead and I'm going to try to get this guy out. Now it's a challenge of not getting our new beautiful work surface scratched up. So I'll see if I can get it out of there. We'll just be using straps this time to get it out and take a look at it out of the machine. Well guys, this is going to finish up this segment, and I'm real happy with the way the dynamic jaw turned out with our machining. I think it really looks great. Real happy with the finishes on it, and especially that engraving that we put on there. I'm just really stoked about how this thing turned out. We are nearly spot on our measurements there. I was a little concerned about that little bit of tapering on that last pass that we did, but you know what, everything worked out good. And our dimension is actually well within the tolerance that we have on our print. You know, we're machining all these parts to fit, so it's not like we have to fall within those tolerances. We can make everything that the way we want it to fit there, but it is within the tolerance that is on the prints that we're trying to follow. So just really happy with the way it turned out, and we're nearly finished with this part, but not quite. If you remember back whenever we were doing this milling this top side, I left this little area right here that still needs to be machined down, and I originally said that I was going to finish that in the shaper. And it's possible that I might, but honestly, I think I would like to just leave the part here in this shop and just finish this on one of our milling machines. I just haven't decided what I want to do to get in here and to finish this, because I did want to try to reach up into this area here to get it completely milled. But other than that right there, our dynamic jaw is finished up and I'm really happy with it. It turned out great. I want to give a big thanks to Kevin over at mechanicaladvantage.com. He has been an excellent instructor and has really been helping me a lot with my Fusion 360 training. And I would highly recommend him if you're looking for some help with your Fusion 360. He can definitely give you a hand. So please check out his website and schedule you some services that he provides, and he can definitely help you out with the Fusion 360 training. I did want to mention that now that we've got this pretty well finished up, the next piece of the pie that we're going to work on is going to be the tail housing portion of the vise. So we have both ends that we need to machine. This side right here, we need to get it faced. We got our 4 holes to drill in there, so that one's relatively simple, but we're going to start with that right there. And on the opposite side of the casting here, we need to come in here and machine the counter bore, machine the bore, drill and tap a couple of holes, because this is where the big nut slides through and bolts in on that side. So I think this may be the next piece of the project that we begin working on next. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video up to this point and enjoyed the project. As I mentioned before, I've been having a lot of fun making this a personal shop project here, using many different machines, tools, and processes to get it done. And I have really enjoyed finishing this out over on our Milltronics CNC mill. And I hope you enjoyed watching as well, and I hope to see you again on the next video. See you guys later.